Hello and welcome again to my channel. My name is Juliet and I teach Pearsonpte of English. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. It's important, okay? Because it's free as well. And remember to give this video a thumbs up. What are you waiting for? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up before you proceed, okay? Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, my topic is tips to boost your PTE listening, okay? Your PTE listening scores. So a lot of people struggle with PTE listening, but not as much as people that struggle with PTE speaking. Okay, so what I'm going to be focusing on today are just few tips that can help you boost your PTE listening score. Stay tuned. If you got a book and a pen, just make sure you scribble down some things or come back to this video later to understand what I'm trying to say and apply it in your PTE listening. That way you get a good score. You're happy. I'm happy that you stumbled upon my video and you get the good score that you need for whatever purpose you need it for. So the tip number one I've got here is you have to listen to different audios with different accents. Yes, because in the PTE, beginning from repeat sentence, right from dictation, there are different accents that you would hear. You'd hear a native English speaker, you hear some Asian accents. All you need to do is just play these things, listen to them and get acquainted. Get your ears used to these different accents. You know, that helps to boost your listening skills. Remember, the PTE listening is the last module in the PTE exam. And what you're being assessed for is your listening skills. So you cannot afford to be noisy. You cannot afford not to have listened to some audio prior to the day of the exam. You just can't stumble into the PTE exam hoping to do magic, because you need to understand the dynamics of this exam. The PTE listening is not a difficult module. It's actually a straightforward module, but you need to understand it. You need to actually understand how this module works. It has 8 tasks. It's a module with the highest number of tasks. So if you take your time to practice it, trying to listen to different accents, because for the PTE listening module, you would listen to recordings. They call it recordings. I call it audio. All the tasks there, you need to listen to recordings, and that is where your answers lie. If you listen to the recording, you fish out your answers, you pick the options, or you type down, or you make a summary. Those are the things that you'll be required to do. So you don't just stumble into that exam. You need to look at those tasks before you go write the exam. So that is why you need to listen to different audios with different accents as well, to help your ears to be able to tease out the answers in the PTE question. Okay, I think that makes sense. Now, point number 2, or tips number 2, you need to practice with background noise. Most times in the PTE center, you will not be the only one. Most times in the PTE center, you will not be the only one in the PTE center. But I remember when I wrote the PTE, the first PTE I ever wrote in my country, Nigeria, I was the only one in Abuja. Okay, but in the exams I've written here in Australia, I haven't been the only one. The hall is actually noisy. I know the headset they give have this noise cancellation thing, okay, but the truth remains, if you're easily distracted, you will still be distracted. The PTE listening will require your maximum attention, because if you get a little bit distracted, you lose the answers. Your answers most times are inside those recordings. So you need to cancel out any noise. That's why when you practice, you should practice with background noises. Your room should not be so quiet when you're practicing, because that is not the ideal environment you get in the exam. So there's need for you to practice in a noisy environment or have a noisy background while practicing. That way when you go into the exam hall, it's not much of a difficult task for you. You're already used to that kind of background. Sometimes when you get to the exam, I remember one student said something to me. He said, "You didn't tell me that there are too many people and they'll be screaming screaming and screaming in the exam." Yes, I'm telling you now. Please, I'm sorry, guy, but for anybody that is yet to write this exam that will stumble upon this video, there will be a lot of background noises. So you need to practice it already at home or in your practice time, so that your ears get used to those kind of noises. When you go, somebody will be screaming, somebody will be speaking too fast in their speaking. And I think prior to this time, people used to do different modules, but now people do the same module. So imagine read aloud, somebody will be screaming by your side and all that. So you need to practice with the background noise. That's going to probably help you get you ready when you get into the exam. It's not going to be a surprise, because you've already practiced, you already know. Point number 3, or tip number 3, I wrote here, concentrate, stay focused. If you don't stay focused, if your mind is wandering in the exam hall, trust me on this, you're going to lose out on what the answers are for the PTE listening precisely. Why will your mind wander when you're in exam hall? Now, I normally say to my students during the class, like, don't think about your boyfriend, don't think about your girlfriend, don't think about your rent, don't think about anything. Just focus there for the moment and just try to figure out the answer, because the answers are just there right before you. Now, if you don't concentrate, if you lose focus, if you're not attentive, you're going to miss it. Trust me on this. So that's why one of the tips I'm sharing here today with you is concentration. There's power in concentration. When you concentrate in the PTE listening, you will surely get, even in real life, you find out that when you're focused, when you're concentrating over a matter or an issue, you solve it to a large extent. So the same thing here for the PTE listening. Once it gets to PTE listening, remember time management is also important. But once you get to the PTE listening, you would have to concentrate. That's the price you pay. You give concentration in exchange for getting a good result in the PTE listening. Some people say, oh, I don't seem to understand what they're saying. Concentrate. Listen with your ear, listen with your mind's eyes or your mind as well. You should be able to get out what they are saying. Okay, it shouldn't be something difficult. But if your inside is rowdy, if you're not concentrating, if you're losing focus, then it might be hard for you to tease out the answer. So like I would say, PTE listening is not that difficult module. I'm sorry if it's difficult for you, but from my perspective, most students have had just about few of them that will complain about the PTE listening. Most of them will complain about this. Most of my students will complain about the speaking, about the reading. People don't really complain about the PTE listening. Just few persons do complain about it, okay? So if you can follow the tips I'm sharing here, give it a go, give it a try, and you would see that you're going to ace the PTE listening. Remember, you begin to pass your PTE listening from PTE speaking. That task, repeat sentence. And so you need concentration from the beginning of the exam to the end of the exam. Just give it a go. Try what I'm sharing here today with you. I'm going to see the difference. All right, the next tip I have here is practice mock tests. Yeah, in practicing mock tests, you get to know if you're ready for this exam. You get to know if your listening skills, if you've upped your listening skills, if there's a word like that, okay? So what that means that you should try as much as possible to buy the official Pearson mock test and have a go of all the modules, of all the sessions, and see how you're faring. Then if you're using a tutor like me, I would say let's look at your official mock test together, and we'll look at your score and see how we can, what the task we can focus on, especially if you're not doing well, and then we'll see how we can get you up to speed. Now, if we see that your listening score is low, remember, it might not necessarily be the listening task. It might be from the repeat sentence, from the speaking, because repeat sentence would give you between 40 to 45 marks to give that score to your listening. So it's important. We're going to see your write from dictation. We're going to see its impact on your writing. So if you're getting high score in writing, would know that you didn't do badly in your write from dictation, really high score. Now, if you're not doing well in writing, and so if you're getting like below 50, then it means your write from dictation too is a problem. So what we are saying here is practice the mock test before you go into that exam. The mock test is very important, okay? It will show us your strength. It will show us where is it you need to improve on. Or if you're already good, that's good. It means you can just, if your mock test is good, that's excellent. I mean, that's what we pray for. The joy of every tutor is for their student to do well, because word of mouth goes a very long way. Yeah, because most of the students I've had, like, let's say 80% of them came from word of mouth. So if you do well, it's a plus to me, because you're going to recommend me to your friends and family and your circle of friends, okay? So it's important. If you do well in the mock test, I would say go ahead, give a go to the PTE exam. So you practicing the mock test is very important. I know people will say, oh boy, it's expensive, but is it better you don't practice the mock test and go pay $410 if you're in Australia for the PTE test? It's better you spend $50 trying to see your strength, if you're doing well or not, okay? Now, the last thing I will talk about here is get enough rest before your exam. I know you need to pay your fees as a student. I know you need to pay your bills, okay? I know you need to pay your fees. I know you need to pay your bills. But I also know that you need to pass this exam, all right? So it's important you rest. For me, if I don't get enough rest, I might go there and my head will be foggy. Yeah, and once my head is foggy, I won't be able to give it my best. So I said here, get enough rest before the day of the exam. Try to sleep. Try to drink enough water. Try to, if you're a morning person and you don't like taking anything in the morning, that's okay. But drink water, stay hydrated, and go and do this exam. Exam has a way of putting tension in you. So if you're not well rested, it's going to affect you. I know some people function well under pressure, but for me, I don't. I need to rest. I like the soft life. Forgive me, but that's me. If I don't get enough rest, then I might not do well in that exam because my brain will be fogged out and I'll be very tired. So get enough rest. Don't come from a sleepover or an active night shift. Don't come from work. You've done an active night and you're going to write the exam. Bro, you're going to be tired. You're going to mess it up. That exam is $410. And I know you have all the money, okay? But what is it that you go back and write that exam again and again? But then what do I know? If you perform very well under pressure, then you can go ahead and do the exam from work. But for people like me, people that fall within my category, please get enough rest, stay hydrated, go into the exam hall, try to minimize you being afraid or you fretting, okay, and anxiety as well. And then get into the exam hall, give it your best shot. Don't get distracted at all. Don't get threatened. Just try your best. What you've been practicing all this while, put it into practice in the exam hall, and then you might be able to get that score that you need. So getting enough rest is highly important. So today I've been able to share these 5 tips for you if you've been struggling with the PTE listening, or if you've been looking for a way to improve your PTE. If you've been looking for ways to improve your PTE listening scores, and I know that these tips will help you, put them into practice or put them in you, and you will see your PTE listening score skyrocket. Remember again, I'm repeating it again, you begin to pass the PTE listening from the PTE speaking, especially that task, repeat sentence. So that is where your concentration starts. That is where you need to pay attention. That is where your listening skills are being tested, okay? Because that task will give 40 to 45 marks to your PTE listening. I hope I'm able to help you pass your PTE listening with these tips I have shared. Have you given this video a thumbs up? Have you given it a like? Remember to subscribe to my channel. Find me on Instagram at English_prep class and on Facebook at English Prep Class. My number is here. Send me a text or give me a call if you need help. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.